see this and appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the cheer. Anything that I do has to be done seated. I'm like the man that said, if I'd have known I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of my body. But I went to Withrow High School and graduated in 1934. And the school principal asked me if I was going to college, and I said I didn't have any money to go to college. I got about $35 or something of that sort that I'd saved during the summer. So he called up Dean Schneider and said, I've got a fellow in my office ought to be going to your school. And I went over and sat down with him, and we talked about anything and everything. And I was wondering, you know, I had thought maybe he'd be wondering about my studies and all that sort of thing. But in the end, he said, well, I'll take care of the tuition and that type of thing. We'll lend you the money from the university. And you use your $35 for used books and that sort of thing. Well, he said, as a matter of fact, it probably more than an hour that we just shot the breeze there. He said, well, I've got to go over and speak to a convocation of the new students. And he said, you ought to be there too. You know, so I went over, and at that time, you had a 5-year program in the engineering college. 50% of the students were freshmen every year. The other 50% for the other 4 years. And he laid those numbers out for the students there. That was the old chemistry thing with about 350 seats in it. And so I went over, still wondering, you know, and never thinking of graduating or anything of that sort. Had no idea what I was doing. And he laid out the numbers for the students. You know, half of you aren't going to be here next year. That's how many of you are going to fail. And Karen has to pick me up at this point if I falter.
But he said, I just met, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I just met a young man who will be here and will graduate.
Yep.
And that gave him the strength and the courage to make it and actually graduate. And so he always remembered Dean Herman Schneider's words throughout his career.
Yes, I couldn't believe that as a result of our conversation that he would say that.
So it's just a very touching moment. You see his